Welcome to an all-new episode of the No Rules Podcast. I'm Aaron Hilton, as always, joined by my main man, Malik Smith. Malik, what up, Gary?
What's going on, big dog? How you feeling?
I'm in Mansion and Benz, my brother. How you doing, bro?
I can't call it, man. I can't call it right now. Ask me tomorrow, not today.
Hey, man. Shout out to the wife. A little under the weather from what I heard. So you pulling super dad duty. I mean, it's not all heroes wear capes, Malik.
Super duper. You know what I'm saying? I'm always super. Today I'm duper. You know what I mean?
Oh, got to add the duper in there. I feel you.
Add a little extra on it.
I feel you. Hey, man. You know what I'm saying? They said it couldn't be done.
Yeah.
Well, we did it. Love to see it. I love to see it. Look at us, responsible and shit, man.
Yeah.
Never up to you, man.
Never would have thought. Not me.
Who let us have kids, man? But yeah, man. So a couple of things on the docket for today. A couple of topics we wanted to get to. So let's just jump right into it, man. Starting with the NBA Finals. Game 3 was just the other night. Obviously we're recording this on Thursday, so game 4, an important pivotal game 4 coming up on Friday evening. We'll get into that in a little bit. But Malik, let's just talk about the first 3 games of this series, man. Indiana finds themselves up 2-1. Outside of Jason, who we had on last week, who picked Indiana, who could have seen this coming?
Well, listen, I think if I'm to believe that the universe is conspiring against my happiness, then this is definitely the only outcome that would have happened. It's really wild, man, to see the Pacers up 2-1. Obviously, that first game was classic. Like, fucking, I can't believe this team just did that. They've been doing it all series, all postseason, and of course they opened the series with a game winner. They get rolled in game 2. Game 3 was pretty awesome, start to finish. It was back and forth. It was close all the way through. And OKC just kept turning the ball over, man. Like something that they don't do, something that they usually do to other teams. The Pacers just took advantage. Realistically, I did not see this coming. Shout out to my guy Prince, former ESPNer, currently works for USA Today. On his podcast, he said he thought OKC would sweep, which I commended him for saying it. And he actually said, no, like a lot of people kept saying OKC in 5, and like he was like, I think people want to say sweep, but they want to give everybody credit. And I felt the same way. I thought OKC was just way better than the Pacers, and clearly the Pacers have, made it very, very clear. Like, look, we are here for a reason. Like
they're showing people. You look up and down the roster. I wanted to get into this a little bit with you because we both have kind of cast-offs from a time previous on our teams. For me, it's TJ McConnell, who played a big role in Game 3. 5 steals, 5 assists. He had 10 points, but the box score really doesn't do him justice for the pivotal plays that he made, including getting that game-tying steal into a layup to tie the game at 95 late in the fourth quarter. So I'm stealing the inbound pass. TJ McConnell has just been a pest all postseason, all of his career. We talked about him a little bit on the pod when we had Jerv on. It's TJ McConnell. He's one of those guys, man, that he's carved out a niche for himself in the league. And it's great to see him continue to fight. I mean, who would have had going into the process that TJ McConnell would get an NBA Finals appearance, let alone win before Joel Embiid? You know what I mean? So shout out to him for that.
They didn't win yet. Let's not.
No. I mean, not winning a whole Finals. They won a game.
Oh, okay.
Like Joel Embiid hasn't even been past the second round, and here's TJ McConnell, playing in the NBA Finals and playing big, important, meaningful minutes. You know what I mean? And when Philadelphia picked him up, undrafted free agent, it was widely seen as like, well, they're picking up guys like TJ McConnell to fill up roster spots. And now look, he's a very important part of a NBA Finals rotation for a team that's up 2-1. And then for you, and your team, Obi Toppin, who you guys basically gave away for nothing.
Yeah. Not basically.
And again, he's
away for 2 second-round picks, which is crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, it's not like he was setting the world on fire for your Knicks, but he's come over to the Indiana Pacers and he's been exactly what they need as a fire starter off the bench. He's just energy running all around. He hits big threes.
Mm-hmm.
when you least expect it. The putback dunk in this game, a couple of big defensive rebounding possessions, a big block on J Dub late in the game. So he's just been very, very impressive, man. What's it like watching um, this this found gold for Indiana? And are they really this good, or is it just a combination of great coaching?
I think the hater in me wants to say that they're not. Um,
At least you're honest about it, you know?
I am. I'm gonna have to be honest. I want to be a hater and say that they're not this good. The thing that actually that I really feel makes them really good um, is they understand that you have 12 players on the team, right, and then three, reserves or whatever. You have all these players on the team for a reason, and they Rick Carlisle understands. Like, look, I'm gonna get something out of every single one of you guys, so we
That
can win.
seems like a shot at Tips. Oh.
It's not a shot at him. It's I didn't want to go there, but since you brought it up, it's not a shot at him, but it is something that he failed to do um, in his tenure outside of the first year that he was the head coach of the Knicks. Um, a year that they had like the least amount of talent and the most young guys, and that was the one year that he actually tapped into every player on that bench and like got something out of everybody that he possibly could. But Indiana, I mean, that's core to who they are, right? Like that's the way they play in terms of their style of basketball. That's the way that Rick Carlisle coaches. I mean, Ben Shepherd is getting like meaningful minutes in NBA Finals, which is insane to me because like
He
this
played
guy,
18 minutes.
this dude, he's literally, I mean, like straight up 3-and-D, right? Like that is his role off the bench, not 3-and-D like your starter 3-and-D, like you're 3-and-D off the bench, and your coach can find 18 minutes for you to go out there and make an impact, right? Against the team that won 68 games in the regular season and 12 playoff games. So yeah, I think they proved that they are this good. Like there's really no other way to say it. Like I don't. Like I said, the hater in me wants to say that they're not. The hater in me wants to say that they're not.
We always got to push down that inner hater. You know
Got
what I
it.
mean? Like
You
you're
gotta
better at it than me because I can't let it go.
you gotta move
Because
the hate
if
out
it
the way
if it was
for
me,
love.
I would let that hater show. I would let the hater shine. It would be the
Well,
star of the show,
listen,
honestly. So
listen. I
shout out
mean,
to you.
I could dip into the hater a little bit, just but in all seriousness, like after watching 3 games, you can't tell me that Indiana can't win this series, right? Like, and what's crazy is the betting odds say different. The betting odds have the Thunder still as a heavy favorite, which is crazy to me because um,
Vegas is just doing what Vegas does. They're daring you to ride the wave with the Pacers and then just watch. Because I think the thing that we also lose in this is the fact that yes, the Pacers are playing really good basketball. They deserve to be here. They're proving it time and time again. No matter how many times we want to like discredit them and say, how shocked we are, which is kind of a slight to Indiana for making it here. I mean, I think after getting 12 wins prior to making it to the NBA Finals, I think you've proven, and the path that they've went on. It's not like they're beating chumps. They beat a lot of really good teams to get to this point. So I think they've proven themselves already that they belong on this stage. But I think that Vegas is just, like I said, they're doing what they do, and they're forcing you to call your own bluff. It's like, all right, are you really going to say that they're going to win 2 more games, or Oklahoma City, who's very capable of just going on a run and winning 3 straight games, and turning up the defensive intensity, and Shea getting a couple more calls than he's been getting this series
mhm.
to this point. It could change the whole series altogether, but. Great defense. Andrew Nemhard deserves a round of applause just for the job that he's doing, just making life difficult for Shea and doing it um, without giving in too many fouls. I mean, he had 5 fouls in the last game, but I think anybody that watched that game wire to wire understood the job that he was doing defensively, and because he was guarding Brunson in the previous series, so
Mhm.
a lot of
Game
tension
six,
was. Yeah,
he was
he's
all
he's
over him in Game 6. Yeah.
he's intense. He's intense. He's in your face. He's a pest. He's like Dylan Brooks light,
Mm.
He's like a pest, but not to the point of like annoyance. He just annoys the players on the floor, not the fan base.
He's Dylan Brooks minus the like that that extra
Asshole.
level of like no, because I still kind of feel like he's like an asshole because like he'll
Yeah,
do the
I
thing where
feel
he
it.
like follows you all around the court, and it's like, dude, it's a dead ball. You don't need to do this, right? But him and Shay have a personal relationship, so like I think you could allow him to do that if you're. if you're Shea and not feel like it's annoying. But he has that like that thing in him where he's just like, my job is to guard this guy, and I'm gonna guard him everywhere. If he's in the toilet, I'm gonna be there. It's like, all right.
Relax.
But I think that's what gives these guys their confidence, right? Like they know their roles. Like everybody knows their role, and they're tapping into it. I say all that with the feeling that I still think that Oklahoma City will win the series.
Good.
Because
That's just where I was about to go with. I was about to ask you who you think is going to come out if it changed at all.
I think OKC wins Game 4 to tie it, and I think they win Game 5 to take a 3-2 lead. And at that point, you know, I mean, I I don't. Game 6 could go either way, I think, and then we could end up having a Game 7. But I don't think that you're going to get a game where OKC makes as many mistakes as they did in Game 3. And even with the mistakes that they did, they were still in the game late. So I think that they still have the edge. They got to cut down the turnovers. Obviously, 18, 19 turnovers. You're just not going to win a game in the finals with that many turnovers. I felt like Shea himself was a little, and I give Indiana credit for the way that they defended him, but I feel like Shea was a little unsure if he should be shooting or passing on certain plays. And I think he's had some games where he shot too much and he felt like, okay, well, I need to get my guys involved. But then he gets deep into the paint and it's like, okay, well, is it a weird spot to pass? I don't know what to do. Kick it out to the corner. And these guys are closing out to the 3-point line like their life depends on it. So, he's going to have to play better, which I mean, the guy's a freaking MVP. J Dub, I love the way J Dub played in Game 3. He hit one shot that was kind of like, oh, I'm sorry, is this nigga Kobe? Like, we just pull it up, step back, sidestep, 3-pointers like that. That's how you got it, big dog. So, with those two guys, I feel like they have enough offense and they have enough to generate offense between those guys. The bench has been good all season. I would be stunned if the bench doesn't contribute, enough in the home games at least. But I think Game 4 is probably going to definitely come down to the stars. It's going to come down to Shea, J Dub versus Halliburton and Siakam, and whoever wins those matchups, I think is probably going to win that game. I lean OKC, but who knows?
I'm willing to stand here and hop on the bandwagon. That's where I'm at with it right now. I got the Pacers turning this one around and winning in 6. I think if it goes 7, obviously it's going to be the Thunder for me. I just don't think they win a game 7 on the road, in that type of environment that it would be in Oklahoma City. But I don't think it gets there. I think they win tomorrow. I think tomorrow is, or I guess technically when this comes out tonight, Friday night. I think that game 4 will be um that's going to be the Siakam game because they haven't had the Siakam game yet. He's been solid all series, but if we go by, and shout out to Hampton grad Justin Tinsley for his 2-1-1 theory. If we go by the 2-1-1 theory, game 1, that was the Halliburton game. That was one. He's the best player on the team, regardless of the fact that Siakam won Eastern Conference Finals MVP. That was the Halliburton game, or you could say it was a Halliburton game, even though he didn't have a good game. He hit the game winner. Game 3, that's the Benedict Mathurin. That's the Benedict Mathurin game. That's the one win from a role player. So you have one win from your best player. You have one win from your role player, and as the 2-on-1 theory goes, you're still one win short from your best player, and then your second best player has to win a game. And I think that's where we come in with Siakam in Game 4. He will be the second best player on the Indiana Pacers. Obviously, is Siakam, and I think this is where he steps up. 25 to 30 points, but just a lot bigger imprint on the game than he had on Wednesday. On Wednesday, he just kind of steady as he goes, got a quiet 20 points, didn't really play a lot in the fourth quarter, came in late to close it out, played good defense. On Friday, I think Siakam's really going to step up.
It's interesting because I feel like, and I felt this way in the Knicks series to some degree. If I had to pick any player on their team to score, I'd rather it be Siakam because the way that he scores, that he's doing it a lot of times in isolation. He's shooting, mid-range jumpers, even if he's hitting them. I'd rather them shoot and I'd rather them hit 2s than 3s. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And especially transition, the
Right.
stuff that gets the crowd hype. It's not like the crowd doesn't get hype from a fadeaway step back jumper unless you hit it in the clutch. They get hyped for a transition three or a putback dunk or something like that. So
But
I could.
also, your defense is you're playing defense. The pace slows down, right? And like it's just fewer possessions as opposed to what we saw in the East Conference Finals where Siakam was just getting like 5 runouts and he was hitting those mid range jumpers, which ended up being the backbreakers. But I think if you're to me, and I guess we'll see how it plays out. I love the 2-on-1 theory. Um, to me, it's like, listen, if Siakam is scoring 30, 35 points, a lot of that's probably coming from inside. And if I'm the OKC, I take that because that means they're not kicking the ball around the freaking perimeter and hitting threes and killing us that way. But they didn't shoot a ton of threes. Neither team shot a lot of threes in the last game, and OKC still lost. So, maybe I don't know anything about basketball. Who knows?
I mean, shit, we both had Oklahoma City in 5, and right now we looking real grimy. I don't want to put my stink on Indiana, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to roll with the Pacers. That's just how I feel. So I'm sorry, Pacers fans, if I jinxed you guys, but I just love the way the team is playing, and just the way this series is shaping up. It just feels like the momentum is going with the Pacers in this one. But
Are
I'm
you
looking
gonna
forward to a good game Friday night.
are
I am.
you are you gonna tuck your brand new Pacers jersey into your pants?
I don't think I have a sweater uh, light enough in the fabric to be able to tuck it into my jeans the way Reggie Miller did. Like, I know he tucked the sweater in, but it was one of those like t-shirt sweaters that's not like super duper thick.
Yeah.
Like my sweaters are like Nike hoodies, you know what I'm saying? So that's not fitting in the
You
jeans.
gotta get one of them workout hoodies,
Yeah,
like
exactly. Yeah,
thin.
yeah. I gotta do one of those. One of those light ones are like a American Eagle, but like I
Yeah,
gotta get the tall size because my
yeah, of
arms are really
course.
long. So it's hard for me to find the designer type of stuff. That's why I wear so much Nike. I don't have time for designer brands. They
They,
don't
they
they don't
cater
build
to
stuff
you.
for me. Yeah, it's like Friday After Next. Extra medium. This is what it is. They don't make shit for tall, slender built niggas. You know what I mean? With dad bellies.
Mm.
Um, onto the next topic. So while we're talking about the NBA Finals, there is a specific bettor out here. And his name is Drew Hirsch. He apparently some point last year, I want to say sometime last summer, maybe after the NBA Finals or something, he made a $13 bet, championship bet. And the last two legs of this championship bet are in the Stanley Cup final and the NBA final. He has the Edmonton Oilers, who are currently deadlocked at 3-3, as we sit here tonight,
Mm. Oh,
in
already, huh?
the final of Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals, and then um, he had the Oklahoma City Thunder winning the NBA Finals. Well, right now, both of those teams are down 2-1 in their series, although hopefully the Edmonton Oilers are able to even the series tonight in Florida, that they'll be able to win back home ice from the Florida Panthers. But he had a cash out a couple of days before the start of the NBA Finals. He had an opportunity to cash this bet out, Malik. And for those of you who don't know, when you make a bet on FanDuel specifically, I'm not sure if other betting sites also allow you.
DraftKings can do it as well.
DraftKings do it too. Okay,
Actually, I mean, a lot of
a
betting.
lot of betting sites do. Okay, yeah. Well, he might have actually made this on DraftKings. I'm not 100%
I
sure
believe
what
it is
what sportsbook he
DraftKings.
did.
Yeah, yeah.
So his $13 bet would have cashed out before the NBA Finals. So like roughly a week ago, he could have cashed it out. $13 into over 120K.
Mm-hmm.
They found him in the street. They recorded him, and he said, "Now we're letting it ride." Here we are a week later. That cash out has dropped from 120K to 60K on a bet that could have went from $13 to $270,000, Malik. But I don't know about you. 13 to 120K sound pretty damn good to me. I'm cashing out.
I believe it was down to 50K in the first period when the Panthers
When
were up.
Edmonton was down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
Damn.
listen, as somebody who worked in the betting space, this is like a common occurrence. It happens more often than I think people realize. I feel like every championship season there's some, oh, should you cash out? You have this crazy parlay and you're about to win a crap ton
The
of
answer is
money.
always yes, by the way. You should always cash out.
Well, I think that, you know, these things are always interesting to me because it tells you who is more or less risk averse. It's a $13 bet, obviously, and you have an opportunity to make what was it, 120,000 at the time, but which is certainly a ton, right? And some people might be like, "Hey, that's plenty. I'm taking it, and I'm gonna go." But if you've been if you put this bet in last year and you've been riding with this bet, the ups and downs of all of it, sometimes for some people, that's the fucking juice. You know what I
Malik,
mean?
we're not talking about some people. I am talking about you, Malik Smith.
Well, if you're saying
Are
me,
you
yeah, I'm taking the 120, yeah, for sure.
okay then? So did
Well,
he?
hold on. Actually, hold on. Wait. Before I give that full throated, I'm taking it. Going into the series, hell, what 2 minutes left in Game 1 of the NBA Finals? I'm pretty sure everybody thought that the Thunder were gonna win. That's the thing about these situations, right? It's like there was no the point at which the thing drops all the way off is in the middle of the series and like shit happens. So it's easy to be like, oh, well, you should have took it last week. But OKC was so far favored that I think in this kid's mind, he's like, I'm gonna make $200,000.
No, we were saying it in the group chat that I had with Tay and those boys, all my gambling buddies. We were all saying it in the moment. And matter of fact, we were actively rooting against it. I wanted Edmonton to win the Stanley Cup Finals. That is the team that I selected to win the Stanley Cup Finals. When the Bruins don't make it, that is my NHL playoff team to follow because I just love Connor McDavid. Who doesn't? But I was actively rooting against them just because I wanted him to lose his bet. Like because
damn.
yeah, I'm a hater. I don't care.
About letting the hater.
I told you the hater would come out. I said it. I told you. I prefaced this. It was foreshadowing for the people in the literary space. But I'm just saying, it's. I understand what you're saying because both teams were favorites. I think Edmonton. I think that series was even odds. The Edmonton versus Florida series because it's a rematch of last year. But the Thunder heavy favorites, so I totally understand it. My point is, if you're turning $13 into over 100 and XYZ $1,000, you have to take that money. You just have to take that. You cannot allow the risk to enter into the equation. And even if you do, you're like, let me just see how this game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals goes. Edmonton wins in overtime. Okay, now it bumps up a little bit more. Now we're up over $120,000. Okay. How does game 1 of the NBA Finals go? Oh, well, Oklahoma City loses game 1. All right. Can I still get $100K? I can. Time to cash out. We done fucked around too much. I ain't trying to find out. Let's cash out. $60,000, as they said, as we were talking about it again today in the chat, still a lot of money. Take the fucking money. You got to take the money.
Aaron, this is why they call it gambling, my friend. This is why they call it gambling.
No, that's called stupidity. That's not even gambling. That's just dumb.
The point I'm making here is you don't do this if you're not willing to lose it. If he loses, the money's not his, right? So like he put $13 up. If he loses $13, he loses $13. Now, yeah, obviously it'd be great to have $120. It'd be great to have $60K, 120,000. Great to have $60K. But I think in this kid's mind, he's like, look, why would I cash out now when I actually believe in the bet? If you actually believe in the bet, then to me, it makes sense that you wouldn't cash out because you're like, I made this bet thinking that it would win.
You know
I
what?
got this far, and I believe that this is actually going to come through. Even
cash out, and bet half of your winnings on the rest of the bet. If you truly believe in the bet,
well, you can't because all the other legs have already come through.
No. So I'm just saying
he could parlay the series now.
If you bet it now, right? Because Edmonton is down. Say Edmonton wins this game and evens the series, right? That series stays even. But better for him if Edmonton loses this game and then they have to come back from down 3-1 for odds purposes. But if you truly believed in the bet, right? Cash out, get your $60K, take 30,000 of that and bet it on Oilers to come back and win their series, and bet it on the Thunder to come back and win their series after being down 2-1. Even though Vegas still favors the Thunder, and your odds aren't nearly as good as they are a year ago. Yeah, the odds aren't nearly as good as a year ago. And no, you're gonna lose out on an extra $100,000, maybe $120,000, $130,000 of potential winnings. But what you're risking right now is $100,000. You're betting $100,000 that the rest of this shit goes through.
But you're not.
And I understand what you're saying, having the courage of your convictions, but he no longer is just losing $13. It's not like the cash out was like $5,000 or something, right? They're offering a legit, like a a seven or a six-figure cash out on a $13 bet.
Yeah.
That is a win. That is a win.
Listen,
you've won the bet.
I agree with you. What I'm saying is, if you truly believed that this bet was going to win, I understand why you would say, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing
No,
it.
I don't
And
understand.
to your point of so you say take the money, right? And then put take half of it and put it on. Well, first you got to pay taxes, so half of that's going to Uncle Sam.
You got to pay taxes on gambling
Yeah.
winnings? That's crazy.
Don't let the IRS hear that.
I don't win, so it's not for me to
But
win.
hypothetically speaking,
Yeah.
you took 30,000. You cashed out at 60K. You took 30,000, right? I'm on FanDuel right now doing the odds. You put up 30,000. First of all, the max wager is 5. So let's just say you put up 5. Let's say you put up the max, right? You take out 30,000 and you put up 5 for Oklahoma City and Edmonton to win. Right now, those odds: OKC minus 230, Edmonton plus 200. The parlay is 330, 2-leg parlay at 330. So you put up 5,000 to win 16,000.
16, yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's not bad, but it's like
not terrible. Get a couple of your friends to bet it. You know what I'm saying? They'd be like, hey, I'll front you.
But my point is, it's not the same. It doesn't have the same.
No, it isn't. It's not the same. It isn't. But it will satisfy the inner gambler in you, because for me, I don't necessarily, and it sounds dumb because it is dumb, but I don't necessarily gamble to win, because I already know that the house always wins. So that's just, you don't gamble to win. To win money, at least. I gamble out of the competitor in me. I want to just be right about stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why that's the joy that I get out of it, is when I win, I'm only betting like $5, $6, $7, $8 at a time. So for me, if I win, cool, I just won $15. Like, who cares? But I was right. That's what makes me feel better about that. So when I lose, I'm upset because I was wrong. I'm like, how can I be wrong? Like today, I bet on Tariq Schoolboy to get 10 strikeouts against the Orioles. Get 6. He'll probably have 25 strikeouts over the next 2 starts combined. But today is the day that he doesn't get more than like 7, 8 strikeouts. And it sucks, it hurts, but like I had the courage of my convictions. And I was wrong.
The crazy part. I mean, that's just nuts. Over 10.
Tariq Schoolboy is the best pitcher in baseball.
I hear what you're saying, but
so I'm just like, if you look,
it's like saying I bet somebody to score 40 points. It's like, how often do you think dudes score 40 points in a basketball game?
I mean, I get it. It's about matchups. It's about matchups.
Yeah.
For him, the matchup made sense. The best hitters for the Orioles are all left-handed. Even the switch hitters hit better from the left side than they do from the right side. He has a 40% K rate against his team. If you go through the lineup 3 times, that's 10 strikeouts. Easy. He didn't do that.
I love how you just said, no, yeah, easy.
I mean, it just is. If you look at it, the Orioles against lefties, 28% K rate, 29 if you round up, and then Tariq Schoolboy specifically against all of the hitters on the Orioles roster, 40% K rate. So if you're prorating a 40% K rate 3 times through, you've got, let's just say, 40%, 9 hitters in a lineup. You've got about 3.5 hitters, quote unquote, per thing. 3 times through, that's like 10.5, 11 strikeouts if you get through the lineup 3 times. He's going to get through the lineup 3 times as Tariq fucking Schoolboy. He got through the lineup 3 times. He went 7 innings, but he just didn't get the strikeouts. It happens. Favorites don't always win the finals. That happens. The fact that the people that you picked to win the cup and to win the NBA finals made it there and were, either favorites or even odds to win is a crowning achievement in and of itself. I totally understand believing in the bet. I do. I really, really do. But I think, as in all things, when circumstances change, as they do in this particular case, when now you have it's not $13 on the line. This is 120,000 plus on the line. When that is the case, and you had a $13 bet, you've already won. Now you're being greedy, and this is what God does to greed.
The hater's coming out again.
I mean, it never left.
So. I hear you. It always. What's the line from the Hulk?
What's being strong.
Line from the Hulk?
Man.
He said, you asked me, how come I'm gonna fuck it up anyway, but he's like, I'm always angry. You get it. Anyway, shout out to Marvel. I totally fucked that one up. the point I would like to make after that terrible, terrible reference is Malik Smith,
Mhm.
100%, I'm taking the money and running. I'm taking the money and running. But I
Because Malik Smith
respect,
is a smart man.
because Malik Smith is broke and he needs $120,000.
Broke man is a
Very
smart
great.
man.
But I respect that the dude is sticking with it. And I'll say this: if Edmonton wins tonight, the Thunder win tomorrow, he's right back where he was before. I would imagine he's going to be right back where he was before Game 2 of both series.
Yeah.
So
Still
you
tied
know,
3-3 late in the third period, by the way, for Edmonton.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure dude is sweating right now,
He is
and
100%.
just a pool. He's just turned into a pool of sweat. But
With every interview, the nervous face, like he's putting on a good face, but he's obviously, and nor should he be, but he's obviously nowhere near the confident schmuck that he was in the video. I think part of it was just like how defiant he was with it. Like, of course we're gonna ride this out. Like he said it like it was such an easy choice. Like that is the
because
sound of a
because
man
it's
that has
not.
no response. This
But
is
that's what I'm saying.
it's
It's not the money that he's due to win is
mhm.
not in his hands. He can't touch it. He's not. It's imaginary money.
He
So in
can
his
touch it if
that's what
he
I'm saying.
cashes out. Push the green button. If you just push the green button, you
But
can
what I
touch at least 60% of it after taxes. So,
yeah.
like, take the fucking money, sir. You know what I mean? This is
But
the musings of a person who is devoid of responsibilities, and that is why
oh,
God
100%.
gives only to fools the things like
Apparently,
this. God gives
apparently,
gold only to fools. I think it's a parable or something out of the Bible. I don't know. Don't quote me.
we are
I
not.
have faith. I'm not religious, but I'm just saying it's like this is the type of shit that a person with zero responsibilities would say. Because literally anyone else who has bills, who has a wife, who has a kid, a girlfriend, whatever the case may be, anyone else outside of like
Mhm.
Elon fucking Musk is taking this.
Dude,
They're taking the cash out.
when I saw the guy's face, I was like, is he even old enough to fucking make this bet? Like, did we check his ID? He looked mad young. So I get it. Like,
It's
you know,
take the win, man. Just take the win.
I'm with you. I'm
I'm
with you.
still cashing out. Honestly, I'm hoping that Edmonton wins tonight so that my cash out bumps up to back over 60K, and I'm taking the cash out. And I don't care who wants to judge me, but he
I
won't do
like
it.
that you keep saying my, because I'm like, wait, do you have the same
We
bet?
in this together now. Me
Oh,
and Drew
okay.
are in this
You
together
and him,
now. So it's my money. Yeah. At
you're on
this
the
point,
first
he
name
offended
basis.
me. He's offending me because he's not taking this cash out. So that's really how I'm feeling about it. Um, but yeah, on to a new topic here with the NCAA um, officially agreeing to be able to pay the players from their own wallets. So this isn't part of the collective. This isn't part of an NIL deal. This isn't hush hush under the table money. This is over the table, free, legal money that the NCAA schools are allowed to pay their players. Now, I think they're saying, from what I'm reading, doing a quick Googles, that the salary cap, as it were, will be about 22% of the average income of Power Five schools. I think that's what they're saying that it is to kind of level the to level the playing field with some of the lower level schools that might not have that same amount of money. Now, kids can still get NIL deals. They can still get endorsements. You know what I'm saying? They still have the right to legal representation, but this now allows schools to pay directly from their own pockets to bring players in. So for your mind, Malik, is this, on the heels of our conversation that we had with Jason last week? Do you think this is a step in the right direction, or is this beginning of the end of amateur athletics as we know it?
I thought Jason did a really good job of framing it in a way that kind of helps you understand how. And I say this with the respect for the players getting their money, but how absurd it is that this is sort of the way that it's turned out. Because as he pointed out, right, like if you have people with deep pockets that say, "Hey, we want to donate money to the school," and instead of donating to build that new building, let's donate to get that top tight end to come to Stanford. You know what I mean? Um, I I don't love it. I don't love it. I love players getting money. I think that's always going to be a good thing because look, they've been professional athletes, or they've been treated like professional athletes on the college stage for decades, right? So, as far as I'm concerned, everybody else they were getting free labor, right? And I understand the desire to reverse the trend, and make sure that if the schools are getting paid, if the networks are getting paid, if the NCAA is making everybody's making money, but the guys who are actually doing the work. I
Conferences and
get
all
it,
that. Yeah.
but I don't like the ripple effects that will happen, and I don't see any scenario in which you're not going to disadvantage schools that are not in the Power Five. Like they're going to be disadvantaged no matter what.
Yeah,
So
that's the reality of the situation. You can have some schools like Elon that has Woj, in their back pocket as their general manager, and some other small schools that might have an illustrious alum who has deep pockets, who's willing to help them out in that situation, or draw more eyes. Or maybe there's one kid that just wants to put that school on the map. There's still going to be those kids. But to my point, the other day, this is what I was saying about it in um I think it's a step in the right direction because it's a step closer towards collectively bargaining, and that's what I really want. Because you saw it in the NFL, and in the NBA, honestly, when the rookies first came into the league. Let's just take it, from a personal standpoint with my Raiders and Jamarcus Russell. He missed like all of the offseason programs and everything. And for anybody that knows the background of Jamarcus Russell, he didn't need to be missing practices. So um, he's missing practices, he's missing OTAs, he's missing team meetings and things like that, holding out, trying to get the best deal that he possibly can. And because this was a regular practice, with rookies coming into the league, not necessarily number one overall picks, because a lot of times those deals were negotiated before the pick was even made. Now they're slotted. So if you're a first round pick, you automatically get this amount. And if you're the 15th pick, you automatically get this amount. And every year it bumps up by like 5% or 10% or whatever the percentage that it bumps up. But it's a slotted amount. So whatever the language is within the contract, and we'll kind of get into a situation with that in a minute. It's a slotted amount. So the negotiations aren't nearly as tenuous. Fans don't have to, sit on eggshells as they hope that the kid they just drafted with, the number 3 overall pick will be there in training camp ready to play, because it's really just about getting the language right in the contract so that the player and the agent and both sides are happy, and you're slotted a certain amount of money, so you get that money. So with these players coming in and this CBA trying to set a salary cap and trying to figure out how we can police this better to make this a better game. I'm looking forward to seeing continued changes and continued tweaks to make this system run like a well-oiled machine. What I want to see outlawed, as me and Jason talked about towards the end of that discussion, is I don't need to see no more 26-year-old college athletes. I don't need it. 23 is the cap. 23. If you turn 24 before graduation, that year should be null and void for you. You should not be eligible to
well,
play
I think it's just
college
5 years. I
sports.
think they should just cap it at you get 5 years of eligibility no matter what. And,
Yeah, no, because I don't want the JUCO, because the JUCO rule thing also bothers me. Like if you
well,
can
I think
spend the
that should
full
count.
2 years,
That's one of those years should count towards your eligibility.
100%, and that's the thing for me,
Yeah.
because
But
if
that's
you
easy. To me, that's easy to sort of put that language into. Like that shouldn't be
you
like
have
a
to.
hurdle. To be honest, I think I agree with you that we. It seems like getting to a point where things are collectively bargained seems like the way that they're going. To me, though, because a lot of times when we have these conversations, um, we had Jason on when we were having this conversation. We were talking about football, right, or
Yeah,
basketball. But what about the swim team? What about the tennis team? What about like how is this going to affect those
you're not
teams?
bringing
And
money in. Are you bringing money in? Like that's the
well,
thing.
but
Because
to me, I,
Texas Tech softball just paid their star $1 million. Who knew a softball program even had that to spend on a player, let alone one player? Not even just a whole program. They were like, no, one player, and we're going to pay her $1 million. There's a lot of college basketball players that were really really good and didn't get $1 million, and she came in, got $1 million, took her team to the College World Series final. They lost, but she was clearly the best player in college softball. So that's an example there. I think if you bring the money in, then the school will be willing to pay you if it's going to bring eyes.
yeah, I mean, well, I think you fall into a slippery slope at that point, um, because you're paying some athletes but not paying other ones. Like that's just not a good look,
I mean,
you know.
life ain't fair. Life ain't fair. I mean,
But
this
my,
is.
my point is, if you're at that point,
Hmm?
then you get to the whole collectively bargaining thing. Not to mention, I mean, there are some sports that are maybe not as popular as football, but still bring in money. They may not bring in football, quote unquote, football money or basketball money, but they're still bringing in money. So it's like there will be a need to figure out like what is the fair amount of money to be
I,
paid across the board.
I think
Because
it's got to be about what school do you want to be? Alabama can't be a basketball school and a football school. If we're gonna adhere by all the rules and the collectively bargained, and you can't pay above a certain amount, your cap is $30 million. Well, we're gonna use at least 25 of that on the football team alone to make sure that we stay on top of the SEC like we have been. $5 million ain't gonna work for a basketball program in the SEC because Kentucky finna pay their players. That, you know what I'm saying? So like Kentucky might punt on being uber competitive in the football space in terms of paying for transfers and pay for play. They might be like, look, we can only allocate XYZ amount of money. Our history is in basketball. Our fans want Kentucky basketball. They don't care as much about Kentucky football. They're willing to accept, you know, you hate to say this, but maybe a little bit more mediocre of a product, or maybe not so much a pay for play product. But if we're not competing with the pay for play teams on the basketball court, then we're going to be in trouble. And like, it's the same thing for Duke. It's the same thing for Carolina. You know what I mean? So like, it's going to force these schools to then make a decision. Well, what kind of school do we want to be? Are we going to be balanced? Are we going to be like, are legitimately we're going to split the money down the middle, 15 million for women's sports, 15 million for men's sports, and then for the men's sports we're going to split it 5-5-5, you know, among the three major men's sports? Or are we going to do, how are we going to split these things to make this money work? And I think that that's going to be an interesting dynamic to have to deal with, but it's something that I'm excited to see these teams learn how to navigate, and also how the players are going to respond to it, because now this is taking it out of the university's hands. It's not, I don't want to pay you or you're not worth this much money. It is literally, our hands are tied here. So you can go take a bigger paycheck from a school that's willing to pay you, and then understand you'll be the only good player on that team because you took all their slotted money. Or you can come here, take a little bit less, but be part of a winning program, and then in, you know, a year or two, go get drafted in the first round. And that's the space that I want to be back in. You know,
we'll see. I mean, yeah, like I said, it could be very tricky. I think um, it'll be a rocky road before we get to a place where it makes sense. I would say, but you know, it seems like the horse is out of the gate at this point, right? Like this thing is kind of moving in one direction, and yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll definitely see what happens. But shout
we
out to
will
listen, get that money, y'all. You know what I'm
get the
saying?
money. You know what
Send
I'm
me
saying?
some. You know what I
Please
mean?
get the money.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Speaking of players getting their money, let's talk about the Bengals really, really quickly before we go into our last topic. So we had mentioned we would touch on it when we talked about the draft player sliding. The Cincinnati Bengals franchise coming under fire this whole offseason started with Trey Hendrickson holding out of all team organized activities as he awaits a contract extension. Trey Hendrickson, 17 and a half sacks each of the last 2 years, not combined, each of the last 2 years, 17 and a half sacks plus, leading the league in sacks, one of the premier pass rushers in the game, but isn't being paid like it. He's outperforming his contract. So, as most players do in this case, he wants more money. The Bengals are holding firm, trying to franchise tag him. He said he's not playing under the franchise tag. So they're in an impasse there. And then fast forward a couple of months, here we are with Shamar Stewart, first round pick out of Texas A&M, 17th overall pick. You're obviously slotted a certain amount of money. This is all about language in the contract, not necessarily the amount of money that he is getting, but it could be guarantees, it could be signing bonus, it could be roster bonuses, XYZ, whatever, however the language is broken down. He doesn't necessarily agree with it. He wants it to be more commiserate to what the 17th overall pick got last season, which is something that the Bengals have been unwilling to do so far. So he has left minicamp. Bengals just looking bad, man. Are they just a cheap franchise? Do they have a leg to stand on here? Like what's going on?
It definitely looks like they're cheap. I mean, but I say that I feel like a lot of NFL teams are willing to die on these hills. My team, you know, made the foolish mistake of not paying Saquon Barkley just to watch him go to a team in the division and win the Super Bowl and have a career year. So yeah, I mean, I don't get it sometimes. You know, like we know these teams have a ton of money to spend. There's ways around like the cap if you really want to get creative. It seems like this team is just unwilling, and maybe they look at it as like. I mean, I think these two situations are separate. It is interesting that both of these players play for the same team, but I don't think they're um, the case that they have against their team in terms of why they're frustrated is necessarily exactly the same. Like you said, the rookie is sort of arguing uh, the language of the contract and things of that nature. But the fact that he said he's got the support of his teammates, which doesn't surprise me because, of course, all NFL players are going to support other NFL players wanting to get their money, especially when it's June and it has no impact on the actual season coming up. Right now, if this was training camp and you know they needed him, I mean, he's a rookie, so whatever. But like, if it was a situation where it's like, yo, man, like, this might actually impact the us winning games, people might change their tune. But everyone's gonna be supportive in the middle of the summer, because it's who
Right.
cares about
It's the
OTAs?
dog days of summer. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? We don't need you in 7-on-7s. You know what I'm saying? We're good right now. We're just running around in shorts and
yeah,
helmets and putting together scissor reels to get fans excited about, practicing in shorts on air, and the beautiful passes from professional athletes making millions of dollars. I may be taking shots at the Raiders. I don't know. But it's just, for me, it does come off as cheap. But most importantly, it comes off as just the type of a franchise that other players are not going to want to be a part of, and like that is the PR situation that they're running into, and the part of the gambit that they're running that's very dangerous because now you're looking at, T. Higgins basically had to scrape and claw to get the money that he got this offseason. And the same thing with Jamar Chase. Joe Burrow, not so much because he's a quarterback and this is a quarterback league. But,
hmm
um, you know, for whatever it's worth, this team has always had a history of not really paying its players and not really making sure that their best players felt well compensated or felt welcome. Financially into the organization and as a part of the organization's future. And for you to be this pedantic about what you're going to pay a player in the contract language and things like that, it just seems a little bit petty. And for this to be a rookie coming in, like I honestly want to know what the language is, what's all, because for a rookie to stand his ground this firmly, it has to be so wild the difference in the contract language, or something so innocuous that it's like it's almost annoying that you're not doing this. So now I'm going to hold firm because it's like, why wouldn't you just do this? Why wouldn't you just give me the, like, it could be over like $1 million, and you're like, you seriously not going to give me an extra $1 million in guarantees out of principle? Like, that's just stupid. So, I think if this was a team like the Patriots, this would get way more publicity, because it's the Bengals and they're in the Midwest, and they have so many other premier players that just got paid. Maybe they feel like um they've got some equity with the fans and the
yeah.
media at large with them opening up their pocketbooks. But this stinks, of cheapness and just poorly run organization, and that's coming from a Raiders fan, so that's really saying something. Um, but on to the last topic, Malik, here. These ICE riots out in LA. You had a senator detained at a hearing today, or at a press conference or whatever it is, and apparently all he was wanted to do was ask a question.
hmm
You've got ICE chasing people down in fields, and ICE agents, raiding houses, doing raids at Home Depots and things like that. So people are protesting. It's gotten real ugly on both sides here, but especially with the National Guard getting involved and excessive force and everything like that. But my question more of is, I'm seeing a lot of stuff online, saying like, "Hey, not our fight," or "Hey, we should care about this." What side of that line do you find yourself landing on? Do you feel like this is something that Black people should care a little bit more about, should speak up a little bit more about, or is this something that's kind of like, "Hey, man, y'all had your opportunity"?
I think if you're a Black person and you see people having their rights infringed upon, it should you should feel a certain level of connectivity to them because that is something that we are very familiar with. Um, I I don't understand how people can see, and you did a really good job of explaining a lot of the things that ICE is doing in California over the past couple days. But I want to point out that basically since the start of this administration, ICE has detained people for speaking out against the massacre in Gaza. Mahmoud Khalil, Columbia student who was detained in front of his wife, who was pregnant at the time, and they were trying to deport him because he was a part of the protests on Columbia's campus last year. He was one of the leaders of the protests on the campus. And this man hasn't seen his newborn child since it was born, um, you know, which I think is just crazy. But that was, they were able to just take him, right, with no real reason. They just were like, oh, well, you said something we didn't like, so we're gonna get rid of your visa. We're gonna have ICE come pick you up. There have been students in across the country who this has happened to, where they just, somebody with a mask on and sunglasses and a hat can just walk up to you, not identify themselves, not say who they are, and could just disappear you off the street. So to me, it's not even really a question of should Black people care. I think everybody should care, but especially Black people. I don't think this has anything to do with, oh well, you know, Hispanic people voted for Trump at this percentage point, and that's higher than it should have been, or whatever. Like, that ship has sailed, guys. Like, that there's not going to be another presidential election for at least until 2024. I'm sorry, 2028. There won't be another midterm election until 2026. There's nothing that you can do other than voice your displeasure. Now, if you don't care about it, then just say you don't care about it. But if you do care about it, please don't tell me that, like, oh well, this isn't my fight. Like, what is that even? I don't even understand what that means. Like, that just, to me, that just doesn't really make any sense.
I think
And
it's
go
so
ahead.
it's sorry to cut, but it's so I fall closer to the side of not necessarily not my fight, but kind of like a washing my hands at the, because again, this is a classic situation where we tried to tell you. We told you who he was. He showed who he was. We told you what you were voting for. We told you what you were voting against. And the fact of the matter is that the people that are being detained and harassed by ICE are probably by and large not a majority of the people that voted for Trump. This is probably the minority of the people who did, because a majority of them did vote for Trump. So this is probably a good number of the, say it's
That's not
100
true.
people that have been detained. You know,
Well, for one, for one, you I don't. I'm pretty sure you can't vote if you're not a citizen. So I mean, there's
no, but
that.
that's what I'm saying. Like these people, what I'm saying is like, say it's 100 people being detained by ICE, right? And again, this is just to get round numbers. This is not even close to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
actual
yeah,
numbers,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So say it's 100 people being detained by ICE. Probably 70 of those people are the illegal immigrants who didn't even vote, or people who didn't, who if they'd had a vote didn't vote for Trump or wouldn't have voted for Trump. So it's not to say that all these people are people that just reap what they sow immediately. So that's not the side of it. I'm not that ignorant to that situation. Although there are some of those people who did vote for him and then are finding that, yeah, you too, nigga. So, to those people, I say, go screw. But um, I do also have to understand, like people also have to understand is like those days of like I'm just gonna continue to. I got to make everything my fight, or like I got to make everything. I don't have to stand for the injustice. I don't have to. When people put a mic in, in front of my face, or when people try and get somebody to co-sign, like I'm never gonna co-sign what ICE is doing. I'm never gonna want to be like, yo, they're doing this, and this is like, of course, is wrong, and all the other kind of stuff. But am I willing to go out and stand on the front lines and do those type? Not really, not really, because again, like where was that fight? You know, for us when we needed it, when this country was ailing, when people that look like me, look like you, look like our children, you know what I'm saying, our wives, who truly needed us to step up for them, to stand up for them, and get somebody in office who at least would keep the ball moving forward in the right direction, even if you didn't agree with everything that Kamala and her cabinet were doing. It was very clear that there was only one candidate that was about divisiveness and derision in this country. So no, I'm not going to ever support anything that the Trump administration does while they're in office. Absolutely not. But to the same token, it's like, how many times do we have to continue to tell you the same thing before you start to listen? And so now this is happening, and now people are looking at black people to like all of a sudden jump up and be like, well, you should care because you're also somebody. No, that's not you. You don't get to play both sides of that fence. And I get that, again, like we said, those are not all the same people that voted for Trump. I totally understand that part of it. But again, no one, like at a certain point in time, we got to start caring a little bit more for us the way that those poor trailer park whites that voted for Trump that still aren't seeing any benefits of the guy that they voted for, other than that they feel superior to another class of people for a couple of months or whatever the case may be. They voted for them. And they did things because that's what they wanted, or because that person made them feel a certain sort of way, or whatever the case. And it could be a terrible thing. I probably sound like a terrible person right now. And I like, honestly, I don't care. Like, that's just like this for me. This is more about, I want to be able to raise my daughter in a world where she can feel safe. So I'm never going to accept the injustices that happen as they happen. I will always be, forthcoming when I feel like something injustice is being made, and there are injustices being made, gross injustices being made. But as far as me sticking my neck out for the fight, absolutely, that's not happening. Not on this
I,
side.
I don't think you're a terrible person. I do think that that mentality is short sighted in the sense that like what they're doing is illegal, right? Like they're essentially saying like we're gonna get rid of people faster than the courts can tell us that we can't, right? That's what they're doing. What's to stop them from doing that to black people?
If the tables were turned, would they return the favor for what they're asking us to do?
But
Have they?
there in 2020 there were thousands of people who protested who were not black. So I like, and I'm not trying to cape
Because it was a
for.
cool thing to do, and all those people turned around and voted for Trump.
I
I
don't, but
mean, look,
I think you're making a mass generalization. But
I'm
the
just,
point that I'm
it's
making,
just,
just let me finish my point. The point that I'm making is, I think looking back and being like, oh well, like this purity test of like, well, who did you vote for? Did you vote for a third party? Did you vote for Kamala? Did you not vote at all? I don't. It doesn't really matter if like if you see something that's happening that is pushing the country in a direction where it feels like we're about to fall off a cliff. I don't think just being like, well, that's bad, but I'm not going to do anything outside of my comfort zone to prevent it from happening. To me, that is essentially saying like, I'm cool with it happening because you're not willing to do something that makes you uncomfortable to prevent it from happening. And then the reason why I say it's short sighted is because we know this. Like the minute that they could figure out a way that they could deport black people, sending us back. So they don't know where they're gonna send us, but they're sending us somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like they're gonna be like, "Hey man, y'all all got to just go to Haiti. I don't care if you're from Haiti. I don't care if you can
well,
speak
I mean,
Haitian.
they
I'm
could
sorry.
try, but at
They,
the end,
like the minute they could do that, they're gonna try to do that, and
they
that's why
could
I'm saying like
they
we
could
have to.
try to do that all that they want to, but in the end, we
But
have
what do
just as
you?
much right to be here, because like the argument cannot be said,
But
because
that's what every people who have student visas feel the same way
but
until they get
it's not
thrown
the
into
same
the back of a
thing,
van.
because the people, and again, this is not a disrespect to the people that have visas, the people that come here to create a better life. Again, this is not about you all. This is not an attack on you all, and I apologize if that's what it feels like to some of you. This is just, something that I'm passionate about. But like, we were not immigrants. We were dragged. We were brought here on fucking boats by the thousands, betrayed by our own countrymen, by our own nationals who were just looking for a quick buck. They threw us on a fucking boat, one on top of the other, with sickness, with abuse, with all this other kind of shit that was going on. And some people thought
Mm-hmm.
it was a better option to jump into an ocean with great white sharks and no visible signs of a coastline to swim to, than to stay and figure out what was going to happen on the other side of this boat ride across the oceans. You know what I mean? That's our journey here. So no, we didn't hop on a floaty and be looking for a greater life in America, because That America didn't exist for us. We didn't know where the fuck we were going. Our ancestors were being dragged. Was I personally? No. Was my grandmother personally? No. It's probably so far down the line, I don't know what that person looks like. And my family that was that way, but that's how we got here. It's not the same thing. So when you talk about our lives and the immigrants' lives, it is inherently and intrinsically different because the
But
way
it's
that we
not
got
though.
here is not the same thing.
But I'm not talking about how we got here. What I'm saying is it is clear to me that this administration will do things they know are not legal and say we can get rid of you faster than the courts can tell us that we can't get rid of you, right? Like that's their MO. What's to if right now, God forbid, they just said we're sending the National Guard into every black neighborhood and we're rounding up every black person. Like what? Who? You can say like, oh, well, they can't do that. We know they can't do that. We know that they can't do what they're doing right now, but they're doing it. Like they make the laws. Slavery was legal. You know what I'm saying? Jim
Mm-hmm.
Crow was legal. So that's my point. Is that while we still have an opportunity to push back, I think everyone, and then maybe for everyone pushing back doesn't mean standing on the front lines and protesting. To be clear, the protests that are happening right now in Los Angeles and downtown LA are actually very small and isolated. It's not like this is not
They're
like
not burning anything
20
down. They're not looting. They're not
this
doing
is
any of
not
that stuff.
2014. Well, some people are, but what I'm saying is this is not widespread like it was in 2020 or 2014 and things like that. Now, it is spreading because people are seeing what's happening. They're seeing injustice. They're seeing people get, the crap kicked out of them for voicing their displeasure of people getting disappeared off the streets and essentially being told, shut the fuck up and go away. And they're like, no, we're not. And people are coming out and protesting in other cities, right? And I saw today that the governor of Texas asked that the National Guard be mobilized in Texas so that way they could quote unquote deal with the protesters. So what I'm saying is like if somebody's trying to take away other people's rights, it's only a matter of time before they get to me. That is my experience as a black person historically, right? Like not my personal experience. I'm saying like
Yeah, as a black man, yeah.
our experience through history is it's only a matter of time before they get to us. So they're not gonna. It's not about what's legal. It's about what they could figure out how to do with the force that they have. To me, the only way to beat that is to meet it with an equal level of force, saying, "No, you can't do that." Now, if if you get thrown in jail at a protest, yeah, it fucking sucks. Hopefully, you got a good lawyer. You know, you you don't end up lost in the system or some other shit. And for some people, obviously, that's a really, really. We're both dads, right? So like that is not something that I think either of us at the point that we are in right now have the capacity to risk. But some people feel very strongly that that's something that they are willing to not only risk, but that they're willing to do to see change. And I can't tell somebody that that's wrong. And I also feel like, look, if I don't see looking at it as like it's not my problem or it's not my fight because something happened, blah blah blah. I don't see that as a winning strategy. I just don't. To me, that only pushes the ball further against us. Sorry. So I don't know. I mean, I understand that the thought process that like, we had a chance for this to not be the case.
Mm-hmm.
I am one of those people. Like after the election, I was like, this. I cannot believe people decided twice to do this dumb shit. And if you recall, the last Trump administration, what really started to get the ball rolling against them, obviously people were against them from the jump, but what really started to get the ball rolling against them was putting kids in cages. Like that was the thing that it was like, all right, like this is actually really messed up, and I don't think people just didn't want to get behind it. You're snatching people's kids out of their hands and arresting them and throwing them in the back of what
Right.
looks like a fucking a canine van. You know what I mean? For like a dog catcher's van. Like this shit looks insane. And these people are just being disappeared. No, like you're sending people to El Salvador, and then after months, you bring them back and be like, oh, now they're facing justice. Like, I mean, that shit is just wrong. Period. It's just wrong. And
100%.
to me, I don't see a scenario in which people say, ah, well, I don't like it, but it's not me, so I'm not going to really push back. And then it doesn't happen to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't happen to another group of people. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
it's really more so, and again, it could be, you know, a poor way of communicating, but it's like I said, you know, if I'm asked or whatever it is, if you know, like they do man on the streets or whatever it is, and I happen to be pulled to the side by a reporter or whatever, like yeah, of course, I'm like no, this shit is wrong, it's stupid, this is what it is, and all those other kind of things. Do I feel like this country in a lot of ways is reaping what they sow? Absolutely, because you know, even if this isn't hitting you personally or this isn't doing like this is as a nation, as by and large, he wouldn't be in office if we didn't, as a majority, vote for him, right? That's what this country did. That's what they decided to do twice. You know, they would rather vote for a megalomaniac than a woman. So, unless, least of all, a black woman.
felon,
You know
a
what I'm saying?
felon.
A felon, megalomaniac, asshole, racist. Like the list goes on, right? So, of things that you could say about this man, but again, they would rather vote for this type of person than a woman, than someone that seems like they want to push the country forward. So yeah, I have my own feelings about that. No, I'm not willing to jump on the picket lines with you guys and fight the good fight in that way, the way that I was willing to do so for, you know, the Black Lives Matter situation and everything like that. That doesn't mean in any way, shape, or form that I condone or that I even support anything that's happening. Whatever I would be able to do from, you know, the convenience of being able to do that, if it's donation, if it's doing this, or if it's putting a word out, or if it's saying something like that, like yeah, you know, it's not necessarily full radio silence, you know, and the way that people want black, I feel like the way that they want black people to mobilize is in that way, and I'm like, no, that's not something that should be our responsibility every single time. And I understand that, you know, to for us, it is important, it is pertinent, it is imperative that we make sure that we snuff out injustice at every opportunity, at every turn. And I totally understand that mindset behind it. But for me, it's also we've done that, we've taken that route before and it's not reciprocated, and then our numbers are dwindled because we're so busy trying to fight so many different fights that we lose sight of the thing that's going to be able to get us to that next level. So it's like, yes, you absolutely should denounce any and everything that this tyrant and his cabinet are doing, 100% full stop. But should you feel the need to have to like jump through hoops to go and do it? Should you feel the need? Should you feel like a bad person for like staying at home, or you know, like your friends like, hey, you're gonna go to this rally? Like, no, I'm actually not gonna go to that rally. You know, I'm not gonna do it. You know, if you have a donation to the families or whatever it is, or to representation or whatever, I'll be glad to do something that way or something
But
in a
that's
different
something
way.
though.
Yeah,
That's I think that's something, and I think that this idea that like you have to be on the quote unquote front lines and that's the only way that you show solidarity. I think that that's misguided. I think that's like I just think that's the wrong way to look at it. So if somebody's making that the choice, like you either are on the front lines or you don't support this cause, well, then I think that I think that's a false choice. I think that there's ways to support this cause, even if you can't, like I said, we not only are we not necessarily, I'll speak for myself. I'm not in a position to go to jail in general,
no.
in general, but especially now when I got a 1 year old son, right? Like that just isn't something that I feel like would be a valuable use of my time. However, there's a lot of other things that I can do, right? And there's a lot of things that I would want my son to see me doing to show that like, hey, this world is more important than just what is important to you, right? Like this world is, you have to put out the type of energy in this world that you want to see, right? Even if it doesn't come back all the time, right? Like that's something that I would like to say to him because it's something that I actually believe. And even when it's tough, even when it's hard to say that and believe it, I still think that that's something that you have to, that I have to, you know, show him and portray to him, even though he's 1 year old, he doesn't know, he can't see it, right? But like, I want to be, when I do say it, I want to be able to actually say like, no, 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 I'm not, these are not just words that I'm saying. This is something that I actually live, right? This is something I actually truly, truly believe. It's not just lip service. So to me, I really think that that's the test, right? The test is, you know, okay, you say you care about this thing, and you know, maybe you're not willing to, you know, get your ass kicked by LAPD. You know, respect. I too
Truth.
would not like to get my ass kicked by LAPD.
Yo también.
But but guess what? You know, you can there's things that you can do that I think help the cause. And I think that's really the thing, that when we talk about solidarity, that's what solidarity is, right? Like solidarity isn't like, hey, let's all like incur the worst of this thing, you know, and that means that we all down. Solidarity can be any number of things, man. Like solidarity could be like, yo, like I heard they're gonna be at the Home Depot next tomorrow at 5 a.m. So if that's where you usually go, like, yo, I'm telling you, don't go there.
Right.
About it's tapping into your community,
Yeah.
right? Like these are, like, a lot of these people who are getting snatched up are people who are integrated
Right.
into
So
communities.
you don't turn a blind eye by any means. You know, again, because it's it's inhumane. You put yourself in a situation where you're becoming a lot like the people who you're denouncing in doing that, in turning that blind eye, because you're pretending that what's happening to them isn't happening. And that's not what you're doing here. In this situation, you're just literally saying, like, listen, it does not behoove me to put my life or my ability to provide to my family on the line in any way, shape, or form for this specific cause. But if there's a way that I can support the anti, support the anti-ICE, the rights of the people that are being violated, whether you're legal or illegal. If you're feeder in American soil, you have a certain amount of alienable rights
You're
in
a
this
human.
country. You
Yeah,
know,
you're a
and just
human
your
being.
human rights, right? If there's a way to support those things without having to put those other um, priorities in jeopardy for me, then yeah, that's something that I exercise that I'm willing to do. But as far as like going out of my way to do this, that, and the third, like that's just something for me personally that I can't do, and I can't hide the fact that part of it is rooted in the fury and the frustration that a group of people that could be so hit by this. You know what I mean? That would be like if I don't know that they don't like, you know what I'm saying, but like if there was a segment of black men, if they said black men specifically, honestly, it's a lot like the celebrities. It's a lot like the celebrities. All those celebrities, the UFC fighters that are all doing the fucking John Jones doing the Trump dance like a fucking proper coon. All that
Malik.
shit. That shit is lame as fuck. You know what I'm saying? And a spinning back elbow from John Jones will probably put me in the emergency room. So you know this isn't to say, but it's like that's bullshit to me. 50 Cent cozying up to him, you know, posting photos after he wins the election, that type of shit. Like everybody coming out. Snoop Dogg performing at the inauguration.
Yep.
Like these are heroes. There's people that we all put up on a pedestal, and you're disappointed to see those people. Like, how could you be so ignorant to a fight that we had to fight? You're so busy trying to chase a check, trying to chase a follow, trying to cozy up to these millionaires and these billionaires, and these terrible, shitty, ridiculous people who wouldn't spit on you if you were on fire. And the only reason why they even tolerate you is because you give them a sense of clout, a sense of validity in a community, in a voter group. They're basically whipping votes through you. They'll be like, I might
Hmm.
not get all the black votes, but I can get enough black votes to matter if I get John Jones doing my Trump dance in the middle of an octagon, or if I get 50 Cent to post a picture of me, or if I can get Snoop Dogg to, I'll get, you know, at least 3, 4 black people in South Central Los Angeles or in Long Beach to be like, hey, he can't be that bad. Snoop performed at his inauguration. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of shit, man. That ridiculous buffoonery that goes on in our community, where we would sell our own people out just for a taste of the proximity to that billionaire lifestyle into these piece of shit people um, who are running our country into the ground. And then they did defiance and flat out ignorance to the fact that that's what people are outraged about. Like Nelly out here putting out things. Well, I don't understand why I respect the office. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you serious right
Sick of
now?
that.
Like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. You know what I
Sick.
mean? And you're not dumb. So like, it's I don't know. It's just something that it bothers me. It eats at my craw. But there's just is a lot for us to be worried about as a people. Um, and these the way that they're treating these Hispanic people and these immigrants, and the way that they have treated us for years, and especially recently, now that Trump is back in office, and the emboldenment that you're seeing amongst the more radical right wingers and things like that that are out there, that are weaponizing this ideology and this way of thinking, is a dangerous time in American history. And I just hope that we don't get wrapped up in it. We don't get caught in a wave that we can't fend off. So
Well, listen, man. I think I'll wrap it on this. I think the pushback that we are seeing, it gives me, um, I don't want to say it gives me hope, but it lets me know that everybody, you know, hasn't fallen so deep into despair that they don't feel like they can't do anything. And I think it's only, it only takes one crazy event for people to feel like they need to also put themselves on the like front line, so to speak, whatever the front line is, right? So I think it's going to be a tumultuous summer. I mean, summer just started, and this is how we started the summer. I don't think that this is not going to be the last thing that happens this summer that causes people to, you know, be in an uproar and determine like, hey, is this the country that I want to live in? Obviously, this is not the country that we wanted. You and I know because I know you and I are aligned in many ways, and I know
yeah,
we both did not vote for that guy,
right.
right? So, um, I know that that's the case, but I think there will come a point where we have to sort of decide, like, all right, it's not enough just to say I don't support this. Like, we might have to do something a little more than just be like, I don't support this. I so much do not support this that I am willing to do X, Y, and Z to show people that I don't support this. And I'm willing to do X, Y, and Z to, connect with those people in my community. So that way we feel like we have a safety net against some of the things that is happening. I hope I'm wrong. I hope everything calms down and everybody chills out and whatever. But uh,
I wouldn't hold our
that is
breath, brother.
that is wishful thinking. That is
Yeah,
wishful.
I wouldn't hold your breath, brother. And I'm with you, man. Like, it's obviously there's a lot more growth and more internal um battling and conversation that I have to do with myself to make peace with the man that I have to be, um, in order to set that example, for my daughter, for the younger generation that I might have an influence on, whether it be my nephews or younger people in the area that look up to me or whatever it is, just anybody in my immediate orbit, and the cues that I take from the people that I look up to, the people that I admire. You know what I'm saying? And yourself included is just talking through it with you here, help me to be able to soften a little bit of my stance and my feelings about it as well, because I've been at war with it in my brain for a while. So it's definitely not the end of my internal struggles with it, but for the sake of this podcast and for everybody's ears, we'll put a bow on it on that one at least, and hopes that things get better, at least as far as the writing and everything is concerned. um on that somber note, let's get to the let's finish it off with a little bit of fun here. Dad rules, man. Dad rules, the fun, our favorite segment to end out every podcast, man. So for me, my start here, I want to beg the question here: when is it okay to lie to your kids? Now, Not the full throated lies. These are, more of like the white lie variety. But I think anybody that followed me on Instagram saw the other night, me or actually last night. So I was putting my daughter to bed, right? And she woke up in the middle of the night, couldn't find her passy. I found the one that clips to her shirt, so I clipped it to her shirt, and I just stupidly I did the kiss my hand and touch her cheek, woke her up too much. Oh, now she's up. And she's like, "Oh no, where are you going?" Like, I'm not going back to sleep. Like, I was asleep and I was good, but now that little kiss on the cheek, you trying to be a tender, cute dad and all that shit, you looking for your cute dad moment. Well, guess what? Here's the other side of that coin. So now she's fully
Yeah.
awake, doesn't want to go back to sleep.
She want the whole
Rocked her.
show.
I mean, I rocked her for 20 minutes, didn't work. So I just put her back in there and I was like, how about I lay with you? How about dad just lays with you and, I'll be right here. You're not going into bed with me and your mom, not doing the co-sleep thing, but you fall asleep in your crib, dad will sleep right here. And that way you don't have to worry about being left by yourself. I thought she would just go down quick, and after like 5 minutes, I can kind of like Mission Impossible slink my way out. It didn't. No, she not only had her head on a swivel, like you said, she knew. No pillow, no blanket. She was like, if it walked like a duck and quacked like a duck, my nigga.
Yeah, yeah. Nah, she picked up on the cues. She's like, nah.
She
This guy's
knew.
not,
She
guy's not
smelled
prepared to go to
bullshit
sleep
immediately. She was like, nah, I'm not falling for this. I don't know
because
who you think you.
she got a nice little pillow in that crib. Yo, that's
Yeah,
nice.
no, Jasmine just put the pillow in there, so she was in there, but she positioned herself in a way that she was like, she had her eyes on me, but her body was facing the door also. So it was like she could see as I was inching out. And it's so dark in the room, I can't see her pupils, so I can't see if her eyes are open or closed. So I'm like, I don't want to move too suddenly and then lose the progress I got to even get her in the crib in the first
Ugh,
place.
the worst.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was just
yeah.
like stuck for about 15 minutes or so, but I finally made my way out of there. Kind of barrel rolled out. I didn't get that part on video, but Jasmine got a good laugh out of it, and so did a couple of my followers on Instagram. So that was a good moment. But all of that is to say, Malik, don't lie to your kids, but um, sometimes a little white lies is just necessary. I ain't doing the Santa shit though. Santa make all the, you know what I'm saying? That wood shop up in the North Pole didn't make that PS5. Okay, trains, the little ugly Christmas sweater that you get every year, your pajamas, whatever, the socks. Santa made that shit. But this, you know what I'm saying? This PlayStation, this new TV that you
Made
got,
in China. Made in China.
yeah, you know what I mean? Nah, dad bought that with money that he earned working. Mommy bought that. Mm-mm. I ain't doing a. She'll believe in Santa Claus, but just Santa ain't making the cool shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I don't. I'm not really too worried about the Tooth Fairy and the like Santa stuff, which is funny because uh Shannon is like, "What you're gonna ruin Christmas for him?" I'm like, he don't give a shit.
I don't
He's gonna
care.
get gifts either way. He don't
Right?
care who he's
Why
coming
does
from.
he care?
Yeah. But in terms of like the little like like it's really the day to day lies, right? Like the yeah, I'm gonna be right here, and then when they go to sleep, you about to roll out. Like, oh yeah, that's gonna happen like 5 times a day. Are you kidding me?
Oh no, we'll go to the park tomorrow, and then tomorrow comes, and you're like just praying they forget that type of shit. You know
Just sweating, and every time they walk past you, like, what?
what park?
I,
Huh?
I gotta go park the car.
Car.
Ah, fuck, shit. Ah, damn.
Damn it! Said the word.
But
Son of a bitch. I'll get the
uh,
keys.
but yeah, I'm definitely. I mean, I feel like you have to, man. Like kids be talking too much. They asking me questions, like they want to know stuff. It's like sometimes, you was born not to know, young fella.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You ease
That's what
the
I'm gonna tell
truth
them.
on them. They're not, that's the innocence of being a child. You're not supposed to know everything about the world. That's for us to know. And then we slowly peel back the layers like an onion. You know what I mean? You don't want to
All right,
peel it back
Stack.
too fast. It might make you cry. You know what I'm saying? Finish that onion
Okay.
analogy. But like you have to you know what I'm saying? But like you have to do stuff slowly. You have to.
Well, I'll say this though. I do think you might need to pull that onion back a little bit faster than the way you described it, because there are some things I feel like as kids we were told lies and then we carried them lies into like adulthood, and it's like, wait, so that's not how this works? It's like my parents told me blah blah blah, and it's like
Your
dude,
parents lied to you, son.
yeah, it's and then you look like an idiot. You're like 20 years old, and you say something random like your parents told you as a kid. Then you tell your parents like, "Yo, why did you tell me blah blah blah?" They be like, "Oh, you remember that?" It's like, "Yeah,
Right.
nigga,
I
that's
just
what
be
fucking
saying shit
father."
sometimes.
So yeah, I think you gotta be a little safe with it,
I got it. What about for you? What's your dad rule, man?
man. So as usual, it's not really a rule, but something that I've learned that which I think is fascinating. Child's birthday parties are really just parent networking events.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know. Didn't know that at all. I went to a kid's birthday party. We got there super late. It was totally fine. No one cared.
They
Because all the
understood.
kids, yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
I kept saying, I was like, everyone here has children. Now I think they'll understand. It's fine. Um, and I'm sitting there, and like the dads didn't even know each other. It was just like, oh, the kids knew each other, but the dad, like one of the dads was like, oh, actually, I live here, and then the other dad was like, yo, it's crazy because I actually live like on the same block. And like, yeah, that's crazy. Sometimes I see you around, and you go to the Blink Fitness, right? And I was like, yo, these niggas is just like networking
He
to
was
be
like,
like
"What?
dad
You go to
friends.
the gym? What?"
Yeah, I was like, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, you tap, yo, just go to the kids' birthday parties. That's where you're gonna meet all the cool dads. You know what I'm saying? That go to the gym and shit.
That's what you need because again, and to further your statement, like to kind of make it a rule, you need other parent friends. Just like when you're married, you need other married friends. You can't just always be around like your single ain't shit friends who's just out here doing fuckboy shit at like 35 years old. Like, all right, I do
Yeah,
also need married friends who understand when I say, yeah, I'm about to go home, go chill with the wife. They're not doing the here with the they understand married life and what it means to be half of a whole. You need parent friends.
yeah,
So, this is the opportunity for you to build those relationships too, and in a natural way too. It feels more natural when you're just there to party. Everyone knows, like, look, we're here for the kids. We don't necessarily love having to be here, but it's nice to find like a common ground. You look for the guy. Oh, you're wearing a Knicks hat. Great, fellow Knicks fan. Hey, you're same. That type of thing. Find ways to bond over little stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
but see, the only thing I don't like is when the wives try to like put the dads together and like make it weird. That's when it gets weird, and it's just like, yo, can you please like just go
You
over
love
there?
basketball. He loves football.
Yeah,
Balls,
yeah,
right?
like I'm pretty sure that's an actual quote from an actual woman. Like it's like, don't make it weird.
Yeah.
That's a rule for the moms.
He'd be like,
Don't
first of
make it weird.
all, honey,
You got this.
pause. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's
Yeah,
read
exactly,
the room.
exactly. balls, balls. You got balls, 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 balls. It's like, all right, please.
Go sports ball. Yeah, that is another thing. Don't force it, because no one wants to be like, no one wants like the needy dad. Like, here goes Malik, like just forcing friendships.
Yeah,
Like, no one wants that, man. Just let it happen naturally. You might not be friends with the dads that you meet like in the daycare era, but maybe in like the kindergarten era, like maybe those dads are cool, or maybe you just gel a little bit more with those parents. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't
I hope
that
so.
your kids don't get invited to parties for the first 6 years because of how cool they are. A lot of it has to do with I would say a good 75% of it has to do with the parents and how they interact with the other parents. If you're like the weird parent, you know what I'm saying, or like
Yeah,
Susie can't hold her liquor. She's getting drunk at all the damn kids' parties and making it weird. Your kids probably not getting invited to the birthday party because they don't want to
yeah.
have to deal with the drunk mom. So, just take that into account when you're going to these kids' parties, man. This is how your kid gets invited to stuff. This is how you socialize. Make a friend, even if it's a fake friend. Have a conversation. Don't stand in the corner holding your, fucking Stanley Cup or whatever it is, or readjusting your baseball cap 15 times. That's just spark up a conversation. Act like a
Funny
person.
enough, I was standing in the corner with like two bags on me. The diaper bag, the other bag. It's just I was just bag. You just walk around with bags. I don't understand it. You just have bags on me now. It's just like, why do I have some? What the fuck is this? It's
Yeah, no
weird.
lie. Like, yeah, we have two diaper bags now, and Jasmine's school bag kind of looks like one of the diaper bags. So like sometimes I have like flashbacks of that.
Yeah,
Like, oh, did I forget something? We're doing like a family excursion. I'm like, no, she just left her school bag on on the couch. You know what I'm saying?
And then they'll have the nerve to be like, "Hey, can you hold this for me? I don't have any pockets." It's like, what
How,
what the
almost
yeah, yeah.
it's like
Classic. That's a classic.
the classic
That's a
skit, man.
classic.
Yeah,
Classic skit.
shout
But
out to
yeah,
Key and Peele,
yo,
man.
come on, man. Yo, hey, man. Listen, I'm not.
Hey,
No, I
man,
can't hold you.
listen. Sometimes they come out. Sometimes they
Yeah,
slip out, man. It's just that's the reality of the situation, you know. Sometimes they slip out. That's just the way that the life works. But no, it's funny that you mentioned because it's yeah, like it's me and Jasmine have gotten to the level of comfortability, which I'm sure you and Shannon are at now, where it's like we'll just be out and all of a sudden I just feel my pocket move. She's just putting shit in
something
my
sticking. So
pocket. Yeah,
yeah,
she just
yeah.
put she's just like putting her phone in my like we were at my it was my nephew Ashton, it was his birthday, his 6th birthday party. This last weekend actually he did it a little bit early. And we're, standing around. I'm trying to get my daughter. He had like a phone party. It was lit. Shout out to his dad. Shout out to Dennis. Showed his son a good time. Dad of the year for that. I told him that multiple times. Dope phone party. And I was trying to get, my daughter to go into the phone pit. She's having a decent time, but again, social. She's not really very social. There's a lot of strangers there. She was like, I'll touch the bubbles, but like, I don't like these kids. And all of a sudden, I just feel my pocket moving, and like Jasmine's just shoving her heavy ass clunky cell phone into my pocket. And I'm like, I also have my car keys in there, so it's like now my pocket's real heavy,
Yeah.
and I don't like that. I don't like the pocket imbalance. You should told me, and I could like rebalance my pocket so that way I have proper pocket distribution, which is like a thing for me because I'm really pet peevy about like innocuous shit like that.
Nah,
So
that's just it's important. And I bet you she had the nerve to ask you later, like, "Do you have my phone?"
yeah,
It's like, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, I do
we
because you
all
put it
live
in
the
my pocket."
same life. We all live the same life, bro.
The thing is, I feel like when I get that question, it's like, do I have it? I don't fucking know. I got that.
No, you put it in there. Well, where's my phone? Like,
Yeah, where my
how
phone at?
would
I
I
don't fucking
know? Call it. Where's what phone, Aaron? How am I going to call it?
yo,
wives can't live with them. Can't live without them.
seriously.
Yeah,
But shout out to all the dads, man, especially this weekend, Father's Day. Um, you know, it's the day that everyone remembers the day of, but
yeah.
no one plans for.
It's funny because I work in the restaurant business, so like the level of preparation for Mother's Day is so much different than the level of Father's Day. Like, I gave a couple of like normally Mother's Day and like Valentine's Day, they're like all hands on deck, everybody got to work. I gave one of my like top dishwashers the whole weekend off this weekend. It's like, we can just put somebody else over there. We're fine. It's just like like we'll be busier
We,
than a normal
we could
Sunday.
just spray the plates with the
We'll be fine. You
with
know
a
what I mean?
hose. It's fine. Yeah.
It's gonna be that place not even that dirty. It's chowder, white plate, white chowder. No one's gonna tell it different. Nah, but it's it's one of those types of things. We'll be busier than a normal Sunday for sure. Obviously, but it's not. It's just not the same thing. It's just not the same thing, and it's okay. That's what we signed up for. I signed up
Is
for.
it? I didn't sign up for this. I signed up for, could I get breakfast in bed? I said to one of my fellow dads, I was like, yo, what are you doing? He was like, he didn't even attempt to give me like a real answer. I was like, are you at least going to get breakfast in bed? He was
What did you tell
I
Shan
don't know.
that you wanted? Did she ask?
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. All right. That was a dumb question. Yeah. I realized as I was asking it was a stupid question. It's one of those like as you're asking it, like it's just not a good question. But I had to put it out
Hey,
there. I told Jasmine
maybe.
specifically I don't want anything. Just take the pressure off it. I really don't. But I'm also weird about gifts. Like I don't really. I'm like the same thing. Like I'm probably the most annoying person to get gifts for because I'm like this. Because people just think I'm doing the thing where I say I don't want anything, and then I'm looking for the one thing I do want. It was like no, I
It's like, no,
literally.
I actually don't want anything.
Yeah, no, it's like I really just don't want you to get me anything because like I'm fine with it. If anything, if I want something, if like I ask for something on like my birthday or on like Father's Day, whatever it is, it'd be like I want some me time. I want to be able to go and see a couple of movies by myself. That's what I want to do. So it was like,
Be
but
3
my daughter's
hours
also
by
leaving.
myself.
My daughter's leaving on Tuesday, so it was like I don't really need the me time. It's a mandatory holiday, so I have to work anyway. So I wouldn't get me time anyway. I'm actually going to be at the restaurant all day, but my daughter's leaving on Tuesday, so I'll have plenty of time. On days off or if I have the evening off, I'll just pop out, go see a movie, go do whatever, get it in. And honestly, couldn't be happening at a better time because I mean, summertime is going to be littered with movies and things like that, and that's what I love to do in my free time. Go see a movie solo when no one else is in the theater but me.
It's the best.
This is awesome. It's like I have a
Absolutely the
theater
best.
all to myself.
I would imagine there's going to be a lot of dads at the movies on Sunday.
On God, with their
Yeah.
new socks. My mom
With their
actually
tie
got
on.
me socks with my daughter's face on it that I'm gonna wear on Sunday.
There you go.
Yeah, it's fire,
There you go.
fire dad socks. I will say, shout out to my mom for that dope gift. One of the best gifts I got all year. So shout out to you. That was a fire.
Get ready to get that for the next 5 years. You
Yeah,
have 5
it's
pairs
cute.
of them
It's
socks.
cute the first time. It's cute the first time.
It's like,
After a while, I was like,
what's the meme with it when the dad had the shirt on and he got the same shirt, the red shirt? Damn, son, it's crazy.
a Helly Hansen belt for the third year in a
Yeah,
row. You know, it's like,
yeah,
all right,
man.
you just stopped at Burlington Coat Factory on the way, so it's fine. You didn't have to waste your time.
You went straight to the
Kuwait, Cologne, or
yeah.
whatever,
You
eau de
went
toilette.
straight to the gifts under $10 section.
Yeah, they just walked into Burlington and went straight to the checkout line and just grabbed
Yeah,
like 3 things.
this will do.
And a gift bag from Walmart on the way out. Like, yeah, let's get the
Yeah,
card and throw it all together in one thing. Like, look, Dad, we didn't just get you one gift, we got you 3. It's like, oh, awesome.
yeah,
3 gifts I'm
nice.
never going to use. Appreciate it.
Toenail clipper, awesome.
Yeah, because you're always clipping your nails. Like,
Thanks. Yeah,
appreciate it. Thinking of me. Thanks so much. Children. But yeah, man,
that.
it's been a hell of a day. But yeah, again, shout out to all the dads out there. Shout out to everybody that again, every week we say this, every week we meet it. Everybody that listens to the podcast, everybody that rocks with us. Shout out again to Maurice for the plug.
Yes,
On Shout Out Atlanta, getting me the profile there. Had to shout out the podcast. Had to shout out my dog. This podcast would not exist without the two of us together. So we really appreciate the people at Shout Out Atlanta giving me an opportunity to, give another platform to be able to get the good word out on the No Rules podcast, and for the people sharing it on Facebook and the like. We appreciate all you guys, all of our guests for coming on, all the guests that have yet to come on, but we'll get in. We appreciate all you guys for rocking with us here, man. It's been another great episode of the No Rules podcast. Peace.
Peace.